वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Sorry I'm late. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. I'm sorry I got late. I got busy with family, but glad I could make it here. But so today's topic is actually about Sikh role models, or people that we have perceived to be role models that didn't actually choose to have that position in our communities, or even when they decided to take that role on, we scrutinize to a too far of a degree. I would just like to start by saying that Sikhi is a path that is of imperfection. It's a path of learning, and it's a path to cultivate. And so everybody is gonna have their imperfect moments, and Sikhi has always acknowledged that, and Sikhi has always admired the fact that people acknowledge that. And so the person that I want to talk about, or the reason why this became so relevant to me, was because of Just Rain. A few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure you guys watched the video of him at some club drinking with like a bandana on, or like half of the star on, and then like doing some weird things with a female. And he got a lot of scrutiny for that. Again, the only people we can scrutinize for their Sikh practice, or the way that they practice Sikhi, is quite honestly Amritaris. Because no one else has truly committed themselves to the role of a Sikh. And again, if you guys want to understand the reasoning for taking Amrit, please hit me up. I have a great video of a lecture talking about the importance of Amrit and why Amrit is so important and so key to Sikhi and a Sikh lifestyle. But until someone takes that step, there is no premise, there is no way that we can say that, oh, you should have acted a certain way, you were held to a certain standard, because they haven't taken that commitment. You have placed that commitment on someone else, you've put those morals on someone else, and you make those people role models, and when they crash and burn from a position that they were never signed up for, then you scrutinize their character, which has kind of always been out there. Now I understand that, like, Just Rain talks about adultery, and I don't know if he actually has a partner in his life, but at the end of the day, some people just have that way of going about things, saying, do as I say, do as I say, not what I do. And then you just have to take it as is. And another key aspect of this whole debacle has been that, like, he talks about how, like, he was discriminated in the airport and how he refused to take off his dastar, and then the TSA pulled him over, and how he just used as a way to gain favor and more publicity, and it was a publicity stunt. Well, regardless of his intention of using that situation, the situation existed. Simply because he was wearing a dastar on his head, he was asked to remove it. That was the situation he went through. Regardless of why he said no, he still had to take those repercussions. And we have to understand that those repercussions exist for everyone, not just to Just Rain. It happens to me, it happens to my father, it happens to people all the time. And he used his platform to make that situation, make that problem aware to other people, and showed the blatant disregard, blatant discrimination of Sikhs all around the world. Yes, Did he use that for publicity? Who knows? Because the only person who can judge him is he himself and Akal Purkh Vaheguru. There is no one in between that can judge his credibility to his statements. And I think even the worst person on the face of the planet, when given and put into the right situation, will do the right thing. And so we should always, always, always acknowledge, regardless of who that person is, when they do something proper. And never take that away when they screw up. If they do something perfectly fine, we should acknowledge that. Heck, if Guru Gobind Singh Ji can talk about Aurangzeb in Fateh-Namma in such a high regard and say, look, Aurangzeb, you did blank blank. Did you know that at the beginning of Fateh-Namma, Guru Sahib actually does the ustat of Aurangzeb, and he says, yo, you did all of these things so well. And then here are all the reasons why I have to fight you. I've tried all the other methods. I've tried talking to you. I've tried handling the situation civilly. But at the end of it, you've left me no choice. And then it's fine for me to pick up a weapon. And that's the mission, the moral that we are taught as everyday Sikhs. And so we should never forget that. That's the root of Sikhi, is to have compassion, have mercy, have understanding. Actually, just today, I was reading the last party of Japji Sahib, and the ideas of having sabr santokh, having self-content, having self-restraint, being able to understand that we need to have tiraj, which is patience. All of these aspects of our life need to be given practical use. And we need to stop thinking of Bani as just reading. Yes, it has a spiritual part to it, but the spiritual aspect gets reflected in how we act every single day. So this is one aspect of it. And this is why I argue that there's a huge difference between Punjabi culture and Sikh culture that needs to be addressed. There's a way Punjabi culture would handle this situation, and that's exactly how we handled it. Is the second that this stuff comes out, we roll the person's name through the dirt. The way Sikhi handles this is understanding and embracing that this man screwed up, or he wasn't perfect at this moment, but that's up to him to decide. Who are we to judge another person? Who are we to decide when Just Rain is supposed to be a perfect human being and when he's allowed to party? Quite honestly, at the end of the day, he has to make that decision that I don't like who I am at this moment, and I'm going to work on it. Because Sikhi is and always will be an introspective and inward-facing belief system and a path that you have to follow. And there is no room to critique other people. The only path that's left, the only job in Sikhi is to play the game for yourself and hope that other people do it the same way. And that's how Khalsa is formed. It's not formed by critiquing other people, and it's not by making leaders. Leaders exist in every single one of us. Kadiye sabd sachi taksal. The way that true coin is forged is by working on yourself every single day. And if he decides not to follow that, then he's allowed to make that choice. Take the good from whoever presents it. Everywhere, every single human being on the face of the planet has some good to offer. But if you just look at all the bad things, all of the things that you have differences in, how are we ever to get along? Sikhi is supposed to be a spiritualistic journey, but everything is connected. Our physical manifestation, the way we look, comes from our spirituality, and it affects our spirituality. Everything we do, everything we say, everything we think affects our spiritual growth and our spirituality level. Excuse me. And no one can influence any of that stuff except for yourself. So again, understand that these people are using their platform when given the chance to raise a voice on an agenda we wish we had a voice on. So why are we shooting them down? Is it because they have their own life? Then who's ever going to stand up for us? We have to understand. We have to be able to learn. We have to be able to grow as a group, as a cultivating entity, and understand everybody serves their purpose at the time, and that's all we can ever expect of them. We have to understand our responsibilities. Anyways, one of the topics that someone wanted me to talk about was that what is the difference between Punjabi culture and Sikh culture? Again, I'm not going to attack a culture. I'm not going to say it's good or bad. I'm just going to present the facts of it. From studying the majority culture, not just little isolated incidents that prove otherwise, as a majority, what it's supposed to be, whether that's in written format or whether that's in literal format, in practice, there are complete differences. We'll start with the easiest one. Sikhs are not allowed to cut their hair. Sikhs are not allowed to drink, to smoke. Sikhs are not allowed to objectify women. Sikhs are not allowed to indulge in adultery. Sikhs are supposed to and are forced, or not forced to, are supposed to and have a duty to, a moral obligation that is a higher standard than most human beings, and that we have to follow. Punjabi has no regard of such. Sikhi empowers women. Punjabi has no regard for that. And if they do, it's the opposite way. Sikhi goes against the caste system. Punjabi is the whole Jataya thing. I understand that for us, we feel like we are entitled to Sikhi, but we have to understand 4 of the 5 Panj Pyare that came to Vaisakhi, the first Vaisakhi ever, weren't from Punjab. Sikhi is universal, it just shares the roots, the origin place of Punjabi culture. That's it. Heck, even the script, the Gurmukhi script, the Panthi, was created by the second Padshah. Guru Angad Dev Ji created the Gurmukhi script, and it was assimilated by the Punjabi culture. So that's the only 2 things that truly connect the 2. Is the birthplace or origin of the 2 and the script that's been taken and used by both. Now, things that already existed in Punjabi culture that were pulled into Sikhi and then changed their meanings of include pags. Pags were for only the higher castes, and that's something that came from the Muslim traditions and the Islamic and the Persian traditions, the Middle Eastern traditions. Because again, Punjab was a trader nation. It was a trading route. And because so much was going in and out, that's why Punjabi has so many sounds from so many different areas. That's why it's so easy to learn another language after you learn Punjabi, because Punjabi is so diverse in its understanding of language. That's why if you hear the sounds or hear the words of other dialects or languages, they sound very familiar to Punjabi. It's because it's so diverse. Because again, it's a merchant language. And so we have to understand that just because a large majority of Sikhs are Punjabi doesn't make Sikhi a part of Punjabi culture. There's a huge difference. First of all, yeah, Vaisakhi is celebrated on the same day that Vaisakhi, the harvest festival, is celebrated. But that's because the Guru decided, you want to understand, you want to celebrate the turning up of a good crop season? I'll show you a good crop season. The good crops isn't in the food, it's in the people. And again, if you want to learn about Vaisakhi, if you want to learn about why we take Amrit, the concepts behind Amrit and why taking Amrit is so important, please hit me up. I have a great lecture for you to listen to for an hour. He's a great lecturer. I might not agree with everything he says or the sources he uses, but regardless, he's an amazing lecturer. So please hit me up if you want any information on the idea of Amrit. But again, there's a plethora of differences between the two conceptual ideas, the reasons why we do what we do, the way we act. For Punjabis, it's about anak, it's about pride, and that pride is of ego. Sikhi renounces that ego, and the reason we have pride is in our values. We pride ourselves in being honest. We pride ourselves in being patient, compassionate. Our pride comes from our fear of Akal Purkh and not being implemented. It doesn't come from just serving yourself. Yeah, our weapons look the same, but they call it a talwar, and Sikhs were given a kirpan. The talwar attacks at the neck and is hungry for blood and thirsty for blood. A kirpan is used as a shield to protect oneself and others. Where women were forced to wear kond by the Punjabi culture, it was banished by Duje Padshah. Guru Angad Dev Ji got rid of the idea of kond. Where sati was a practice, not in just a Hindu tradition, but in Punjabi culture, because culture and tradition are intertwined generally. Guru Sahib banished it. Got rid of the idea of females being objectified and females being second-class citizens. And what does Punjabi culture do? Brings them right back. It's fine to do Bhangra. It's fine to do whatever you want. I even dance. I dance like nobody's business. But we have to understand the two differences and leave them in their respected realms. Where Bani belongs, Bani belongs. Where Bhangra belongs, Bhangra belongs. We never dance to Gurbani out of respect for a group, a culture that isn't ours. No one can own Sikhi, ever. No region, no person. It's not the property of us. It's the property of Sarbat, of all. It's a property of Akal Purkh. Because what's the shabd? Pragatiyo Khalsa Parmatam Ki Mauj. Khalsa was created at the pleasure and at the mercy of Akal Purkh. Param Atam, Parmatam Ki Mauj, the all-pervasive soul or entity. So we have to recognize that. We have to live up to that. And we have to respect that. And we have to draw the boundaries. I know it gets kind of blurry at some points. But hey, if it's getting blurry, I think we should start asking ourselves the question, is it really worth it to try going at that? At any time, at any given time, these things are blurred together, and it's okay. I don't. Again, some people commented saying, "Oh, I'm talking about ABC." No, it doesn't start with ABC. It starts with the cultural mentality, because from the cultural mentality, these people get a perception, and from that perception, they add it to their music. And when they add it to their music, regardless, I don't know if the actual song was Tarmik or not. Then it goes to the DJ. Whoever mixes any type of music, it's not just ABC. Again, ABC was just an example of this. And again, I'm sorry I didn't ask them before or tell them before that I was going to post it. But they're just an example of what happens every single day, whether that's groups in California, Canada, like Australia, India, regardless of where they are. This happens on almost a daily basis, where they'll add like one line from Bani where they'll be like Gagan mama bajyo pareo nisane kao khet jamande surma abju jan ko dao, and then like they'll jump into their set. This happens on almost a daily basis. And instead of blaming other people and being like, "Oh, yo, you were so insensitive," yo, again, who are we to judge other people? All I'm doing is presenting a side of it. And then whoever wants to act upon that are going to act upon it. And those who care about my opinion or hurting other people are going to message you and going to ask you and be like, "Yo, why'd you do that? Why'd you ask? Why are you throwing shade?" Etc., etc. And then you just answer. And then you appreciate the fact that those people came up to you. You appreciate the fact that they could put their anger or their emotions to the side and be able to talk to you. You appreciate the fact that the people that did whatever they did were willing to come up, man up, and be like, "What can we do to fix it?" And then they I appreciate the fact that they are willing to do all of that. So again, it's not about ABC. It's about the culture in general, of how Punjabi culture gets mangled with Sikhi. That's why I don't even call it the Punjabi script. It's the Gurmukhi script that's used by Punjabis. It's the Gurmukhi Panti, not the Punjabi Panti. And again, there's nothing wrong with the two groups or the two cultures. Now, do I have a personal opinion about the cultures? Of course I do. Do you have a personal preference about the two cultures? Of course you do. There's some people that are going to agree with me. There's some people that are going to agree with you. There's people that are going to hate what I say. There's people that are going to hate what you say. But objectively, looking at both of them, there is a clear distinction where they don't get along. They don't commingle. And we decide which cultural what cultural identity gets the higher priority in our system. For me, that priority system is different. That means Sikhi first, then maybe Punjabi, then maybe English culture, then maybe my family culture, then maybe my friend culture. That all changes for all of us. So there is no right answer for this. There's no, just trashed this one group of people. No. Sikhi is about Sikhi. If you want to follow that path, follow the path. This is the suggestions. This is the way to walk that one path. If you want to embrace the Punjabi culture, embrace the Punjabi culture. But there is no such thing as right and wrong in all of this. Realize that. And then move forward. Just be respectful of other people's belief systems. Respectful of what other people choose to do with their life. And at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is walk each other home. That's all we're honestly trying to do. And I I just I have a problem with the idea that we need to belittle others or relatively show others that, yo, we're relatively better than you. Because that's not our position. That's not what Sikhs are supposed to do. And I don't know where that mentality was thrown into us. We're never supposed to look and compare ourselves to other people. Where tyranny exists, we're not supposed to say, well, what are the other people doing? It's what we're supposed to do. We only understand our obligation and our job and our opportunity to do something about it. And that's why organizations like Khalsa Aid are so revered, is because they maintain the Khalsa spirit. Because it's not about what are other, like UNICEF and other organizations doing about the situation. It's what they themselves can do. And it's not just for Sikhs. It's for everyone. And it's never based off of, oh, they're Taksali, man, we're not going to help them. They're missionary, man, we're not going to help them. Oh, they did this, we're not going to help them. At the end of the day, what is their mission? Serve all of humanity as one. Isn't that the whole mission behind Ek Onkar? And where there's Ek Onkar, where is the line that you get to draw of good and bad? We fight tyranny. The actions of, look, it's, the problem isn't that the actions of individuals are changing the image of the Panth or to non-Sikhs. It's the fact that we are saying that Sikhs aren't supposed to be individuals. The idea of organized religion has been thrown onto the heads of Sikhs, and then we have embraced it. We no longer understand that Sikhi is an individualistic belief structure. And when people of the identical belief come together, then they form Khalsa. And when Khalsa forms, it's like I see something wrong in the world. And I have a belief system that says I need to help the world. I formed the belief system all on my own. I decided that, based off of what Sikhi's telling me, I have a job to go out in the world and fix this problem. And you go into the world and you have that same realization. Since our mission becomes one, suddenly we form Khalsa, a form of Khalsa. And especially when we take that initiation into the school of becoming a Sikh, and that's taking Khande Paul the Amrit. Khande Paul the Amrit is the entry to the school. Until then, there's no commitment. It's like, again, watch the lecture if you guys would like to. I'll send you the URL at your own discretion. I'll post it at the bottom of the YouTube video. But until that point, there is nothing that holds you to the regards of a Sikh. Nothing. You walk it at your own discretion. It's like living together with someone, having kids with someone. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's no commitment to that relationship. That's why we get married. The perception, the psychology, the commitment level to society and yourself changes after you are married. Same goes with this idea of Amrit. It's okay not to take Amrit. It's okay to live a life without it. But there is no reason for you to stick around. The mentality doesn't exist for you to be completely committed to this mission. And so I leave it to your own discretion that, you can call yourself a Sikh, but that's your decision. I'm not going to be the one that's going to say that, this is what a Sikh is supposed to do. This is what a Sikh is not supposed to do. This is what you should dress like. This is what you should wear. This is the rat. No. All I can do is give you avenues and you walk it at your own pace. That's because there's a cultural like overlap there, right? So the idea of a dastar is both Punjabi culture and Sikh culture. Sikh culture is about empowerment and making people recognize the things that they're supposed to hold and revere. And then Punjabi culture is just like Sardari. It's about pride. It's about anak. It's about ego. And so you can't really like criticize people for that. You just have to say, yo, they're Punjabi. And they can call themselves Sikh, and they do call themselves Sikh, but you have to judge them on the merits of being a Sikh. And that's the way we have to approach this. If someone doesn't walk on the values of Sikhi, we need to teach people what the values of Sikhi is. It's not what you call yourself. It's how you behave that matters in Sikhi the most. And so we need to stop catering to people and be like, this is what a Sikh looks like, and start telling people this is what Sikhs are supposed to act like. We've been catering and marketing the wrong way, and that's why this problem exists. Because Sikhs are supposed to act a certain way, and we're not acting that way. And because of that, the confusion exists. It's like, yo, that guy's wearing a dastar, she's wearing a dastar, he's wearing a dastar. That one is acting completely wrong, so like he must be like a bad Sikh. Like, no. There's no good and bad Sikh. You're either Sikh or you're not. There's Sikhs that walk the path of Gurmukh or Gurmat, and then there's Sikhs that don't. And then the ones that don't and still wear the star are part of the Punjabi culture, but they don't adhere to the Sikh culture. They only orient themselves around the Punjabi culture, and that's fine. Do your thing. The harm comes when people keep embracing and saying that they're part of the Sikh culture and no one stops them, or no one ever takes the time out of their day to just be like, yo, are you really though? And allow them to have a moment of introspection and be able to analyze their own situation instead of judging them. Have a conversation. Have a dialogue and be like, yo, this is what Sikhi says. Are you sure you want to follow that? Like, it's fine not to. We just need to stop criticizing and allow people to have that incentive to leave. Because at the end of the day, if we start getting persecuted again, I guarantee you, when the incentives to be a Sikh run out, all of these people are going to run away, regardless of 30 million people on the face of the planet. I would be very surprised if we have even 1,000 people still with the star on their heads that are willing to proudly call himself a Sikh. We need to start orienting around the principles. We need to start catering. We need to start cultivating. We need to start advertising around the aspects, the principles, the behavior of a Sikh. Because they're universal. The principles of Sikhi are all universal. And then they show up in the physical. So let's stop focusing on the identity of physical Sikh and start focusing more on the identity of a Sikh's actions. Bhai Nandlal Ji was not me and you looking Sikh. I've said this multiple times over and over again, that we need to get over this persona of like a Sikh looks a certain way. Because guess what? I'm Amritari and I still tie this on my head. We need to get over this persona. Yeah, taking Amrit is very important for us. And again, if you want that video, please hit me up. But that's where our journey begins. That's not where we end. That's like taking initiation and then being told that you are graduating with a PhD. It's like, yo, I didn't even learn anything. I just showed up to learn. Wearing your kakar is like bringing pencils and a notebook to class. Doing Nityanem is like studying. And then life is the test. Now, if you never initiate yourself you initiate yourself into the school, you study for the exam and you flunk every single day, and then you still have pride on the fact that, yo, I'm a Sikh, man. Really? And then that's the idea of Apa nade giri vaan mein sir niva kar dekh. Yeah, look at your own neck. It's dark. It's black. It has impurity all over it. Just look down and look at your own neck. And that's the journey of a Sikh. There is no room to criticize other people. I know I sound like I'm beating the same drum over and over again, but there is no room to criticize another Sikh. And everybody on the face of the planet is a Sikh, so there's no room to criticize anyone on the face of the planet. We stand for justice, we stand for compassion, we stand for peace, we stand for all of that stuff. And anyone that threatens that is not bad as a person. Their ideas are bad. And anybody that's a threat to those ideas is who we generally end up challenging. No, actually, those are the only people we end up challenging. That usually ends up being the status quo. This is why that whole idea, the whole mentality of Sikhi needs to be pushed towards, and it is being pushed, but it's being too pushed. It's being overcorrected into this idea of, yo, that all that matters is the being a Sikh on the inside, man. The outside doesn't matter. Because guess what? On the left side, we have like all of the people that are like, yo, Nithanim, we have to do Simran, we have to do, but every single day Thagiya Marde, every single day they hit their wives, every single day they oppress everybody around them and force them and try to convert them into Sikhi, when Sikhi is about love. And then people understand this about Sikhi and they're like, yo, these people wearing these dastara and wearing all of this stuff while wearing it aren't adhering to the principles of Sikhi, so it's better to just focus on the internal, and the internal is all that matters. And then they push all the way to the right and they're like, we only need to focus on the outside. And then there's that overcorrection is going to occur again. That's just the paradigm we're living in. And we have to start focusing in the middle. Being like, yo, this is what a Sikh looks like. But yo, if that person's wearing all that stuff and isn't acting the way that we're describing, then they're just Punjabi. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not the Guru's way of walking. And that's their choice, right? There's nothing wrong with walking however you want to. It's just, Barney says, and just life experience of my own personally says, that anybody that ends up usually doing that faces a lot more problems than it ends up solving. And they'll learn it on their own. And who am I to go out there and force these people or these ideas down people's throats? Because all of this is about love, and you can't teach other people to love. It has to come from the inside. And every person will, I believe every person in their life has a moment where that light exists inside of them. And sometimes the people that are blowing on that light the most to make it bigger end up extinguishing it. Push each other, challenge each other, but not to a point where people start hating what they're doing. And again, it's just all about balance. Balance is key to all of Sikhi, all of life. And then to wrap it all up, I'm going to end up ending it here. Sorry again, I was late. But there's absolutely no reason for us to hate on Just Rain. People are going to act how they want to act. They're going to do what they want to do. They want to live their life, and that's fine. If you want to walk on the path of Sikhi, you're going to walk on the path of Sikhi. If you want to walk down the path of drinking and smoking and the Punjabi culture and living life, do you, fam. You're going to love life. But I'm going to be there when you're happy and enjoying your life. And Guru's going to be there when you're enjoying life. And Guru's gonna be there when you're falling on your face. Guru's gonna be there when you gain stuff. Guru's gonna be there when you lose stuff. And at some point, you just have to understand that every single human being is entitled to those choices and their own opinions. Some people are going to want salvation earlier, and some people are going to want it later. Some people who want salvation end up burning out on that idea, and some people who want salvation realize it too late. Some people realize it at the right time, and we call that Gur Prasad. At the right time, at the right place, just the right amount of push, just the right amount of love, just the right amount of guidance, support, and love. Self-restraint, patience, compassion, and willing to take the hits from the Guru to teach us, yo, you're thinking the wrong way. Alright, that's where I'm going to end it. Please message me if you guys have any questions, concerns, opinions, or anything you guys would like me to talk about. If I've said anything wrong or I went too far on any of these topics, please, I'm sorry, and do let me know. If I can work on any of this stuff, again, I'm sorry for coming late. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.